are the high virtues, noble virtues and the wisdom and so on. Whatever action is rooted in them, alobha, adosa, amoha. Any action which is rooted in non-greed, alobha, it does not mean merely absence of greed, no. It means something that can do away with greed. Now charity or dana or giving is the opposite of grabbing and getting. Greed manifests in the form of getting and grabbing and accumulating and wanting, longing. So now the opposite of that is giving up, or giving as dana or generosity, charity, sharing. That's the opposite. So now anything, non-greed therefore, is not absence of greed, but it is the presence of a positive factor that does away with greed. Similarly, non-hatred is not just absence of hate, but the presence of universal love, loving kindness, friendliness, a generous approach, a friendly approach to everything, goodwill. These are the factors that are the very opposite of hate, anger and so on. So any action which is rooted in these wholesome, these psychological factors which are positive, morally uplifting and beneficial, so such actions are good and therefore productive of happiness. So now as you keep on inquiring, you see, so the action is not a very simple affair. First of all, the action is bound to be either intentional or non-intentional. That means it is based upon volition or will. You intend to do something, you intend to say something, you intend to think something, and the result, the outcome is action. Now this intentional action is a very powerful action. It has a potency because it motivates, you see, a person into acting in a certain way. So intentional action is a very powerful action. It has a potency, and the potency is in the form of giving result. So every action, just like a tree, not only has root, but it has fruit. It produces results. It not only has root, but it has also fruits. So it bears fruit. Every action, therefore, bears a result. And the type of result it bears depends upon the motivation, the intention behind, as well as the root, the hetu, the root causes, the roots of an action, either greed, hatred and so on. Intention plus roots, these motive forces. Now all these put together make an action. And that is why an action is very powerful. It is capable of producing happiness or misery. Now this is again another way of looking at life. Life can be either happy or it can be unhappy. It can be suffering. Not only individually, but also collectively. Now, for instance, in human plane, you can see there are human beings who are very happy, who enjoy all kinds of successes, who enjoy power, position, success, and everything that, you see, everything that is good for life. And there are others who are unhappy, miserable. You see, for them life is a failure, series of failures and trouble and worry and suffering of all kinds. So here and now you see in the human world, you have got two distinct types of human existence. A very happy one or an unhappy one. And what creates their happiness and unhappiness is not the creation of a god or a human being or a guru or a religion, nothing of the sort. Action. The motive power behind action. So happiness and misery is the creation of action based on its motivations and intention. Once we understand this very clearly, and we understand that whatever we are doing, there is a kind of intention behind, be careful of that intention. Be careful of the motives like greed, hatred and delusion, or non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. Just become aware, what motivates? Is it due to greed that you are going and trying to grab something? Or is it due to anger that you go and punch somebody? Or is it due to ignorance that you keep on creating theories and all kinds of fear and false beliefs and all that sort of thing? So now once you understand these root causes of actions and the intentions behind, and you understand that they are productive of the basic drive in life, namely happiness or misery, not only at the individual level but also at the collective level. Human beings enjoy a lot of happiness, lot of power, lot of virtue, lot of goodness, lot of beneficial things, unlike the animals, unlike beings who are born in a lower plane of existence, like the animal life, like the ghosts and the spirit life, like the demoniac type of beings, like those who are suffering immensely. You see, unmitigated suffering in the plane, in the hellish worlds, in those worlds where known as hells. My goodness, suffering is unimaginable. And all these sufferings have been caused by action. A being of the hellish world suffers. Once I had told you this story, probably you'll remember, and we'll mention it once again. Lord Buddha, immediately, you see, after his enlightenment, and as he was sitting under the Bodhi tree and musing in the sheer bliss of emancipation, he saw a creature moving above, floating in the air, crying absolutely very, very pitifully. And he had the body of a human being, the face of a pig, and his body was burning fire from one end to the other, and from the leg to head, and from head to leg, and again downwards, from face down right up to tail, from the tummy, both ways, and sideways again, and immensely. Immediately Buddha applied his supernormal power and found out who the being is to begin with, what kind of being it is, and why it is in such pitiable suffering and crying, immense misery. And then he found out that here is a person who was supposed to be a monk, but lived a very wretched life, teaching all kinds of stupid, false religious beliefs and all that sort of thing, making money, living, enjoying all the sensual pleasures of household life, and yet calling himself a renunciate, one who has renounced all the so-called worldly pleasures. And all the wrong ways that you can, he was a very, very intelligent person, an extremely, he was a master of all the three Vedas and everything. Very, very powerful man, the king's guru he was. So anything, whatever you may consider to be good things of life, all that this fellow enjoyed and misused as a monk, as a renunciate. All the respect he got, he did not deserve. But he went on enjoying nonetheless. The result, he was born in the Preta Loka with this very hideous look of a human body and the face of an animal, the pig, and suffering fire burning the body from end to end. And it was not a mere hallucination, no. It was a real experience. But Buddha did not tell this to anybody about it. Until many years later, many months rather, later, when one day Venerable Moggallana and Venerable Lakhana, both arhats, very powerful arhats, liberated, enlightened disciples, until one day, you see, they were staying in Rajagaha in the mountain Gijjakuta, Gijjakuta mountain, and in one of those caves they were staying there. The Vulture's Peak it is called, Gijjakuta. So, now as they were coming down on their way for alms round in the morning, Venerable Moggallana saw the same being again, flying and crying and, you see, beseeching from Venerable Moggallana, saying, Bhante, please help, please help. And so, he was so full of compassion. He had a compassionate, a dukkha, a face, you see, riddled with suffering and pain, and but a kind of smile. You see, painful smile, the smile of pain. So whenever Lakhana saw that, and he says, brother, what makes you smile like this? What makes you feel this tremendous pain and all that? He says, brother, please don't ask me. You asked me this question in the evening in the presence of the Lord. If he allows, then I will relate. So it happened in the evening, every day they used to go to hear the Dhamma in the Veluvana monastery where the Buddha was staying. And there Venerable Lakhana raised the question, says, Bhagavan, I saw Brother Moggallana smiling like that and his face was filled with pain. And so, but he won't reveal, he won't tell, because monks are not allowed to reveal their supernormal experiences and abilities. Buddhist monks cannot demonstrate, cannot show off their so-called psychic powers and abilities. They are forbidden to do that. So Venerable Moggallana, when he said that, Lakhana Bhante also understood. So Buddha said, well, Moggallana, will you please explain what made you feel so painful and then this? He explained the same thing, he described exactly what the Buddha had seen also. So Bhagavan said, yes, my dear, I had the same experience on the very day I became enlightened. But I did not reveal. I was waiting for the appropriate occasion where I could corroborate with somebody. So now it has happened. So there is so much to know in this world that we don't know. What we don't know is so immense and vast indeed. And what we know is so little indeed. So we have reason to be humble. So a a fact finder of reality. That is what a Buddhist is. Fact finder. Find out facts of reality. We have to be humble. We have to approach in a very humble, objective way, which will be both, rational and also moral and also philosophically true. So that way, so there is so much now, just this inquiry about one action, so much of information will come out just from one day's experiment in finding out who I am. What is so-called me? What is this life? What does it boils down to ultimately? Action. Now this inquiry about action reveals a whole world of information and also guidance to make our life meaningful. Have more control over our actions. Have more power to be mindful about our actions. And be the master of action, because ultimately happiness and misery of life depends upon action. And not only that, our destiny. Action creates the law of cause and effect. That is what I am going to discuss about next. In this series on action, I will discuss from where has this law of cause and effect come about, originated. What is this law of action and reaction, or law of action, cause and effect? So this is going to be the subject of the discourse next time, and there it will reveal again the wonderful nature of action, the mystery of action, what action can do. And once we understand our actions in this manner, very clear-cut manner, we become the master of our action. That is the goal of Buddhist life. Become the master of your action. With this I conclude. May the grace of Bhagavan Buddha surround your lives with wisdom and well-being. May you all be happy.